All right, it's the Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast, where I go and look at loan plays and strategies specifically designed for GPPs. This is a show for people who are already informed on daily fantasy sports, not as contest to operate. If you have a question related to NASCAR, it isn't a stupid question, feel free to shoot my way on Twitter. I'm BrandonCruzDFS. Most importantly, take everything here with a grain of salt and use your best judgment when making entries. Additionally, if you have a gambling addiction, that's just not my problem. We're talking about the Homestead race for the Xfinity Series this weekend. Interesting situation here. I was gonna originally make the video last night after I made the Cup Series, but then I really started diving into line construction projections, and before I knew it, it was like 2 o'clock, and I still wasn't entirely sure how I wanted to approach this, so that's why I pushed this to recording this Friday morning. Let's get into talking about how I think the race is going to go in line of construction, and then we'll talk about drivers, because line of construction is really interesting. And here's an example, or here's how you used to look at it. I mean, you have to approach NASCAR DFS entirely different now. I know we said it last year. I've been saying it since the beginning of this year, but you really do. It's not the same animal it was in 2019, 2018, 2017. A lot of those rules that you have in your mind, a lot of those rules that you have in those optimizers, a lot of the things engraved into your mind of how you approach each weekend need to be thrown away, because this is an entirely new animal. It's not black and white. The line between black and white is no longer just a line. I mean, it is blurry. So looking at this race, I expect to go green. If it goes green, the guys that we expect to be up front will be up front. That's just how I think it's going to work out. Now, here's the first situation. Do you play Cendrick or not? The way that when I first looked at the pricing, which we have a lot of mispricings as well, when I first looked at the pricing, it instantly clicked that we're going to have most lineups, whether you hand build them or put them in an optimizer, they're going to start with two 10,000 plus guys. Assuming that those two 10,000 plus guys are going to be Cendrick, because he's starting on pole, and then probably Gregson, because he has the best car, and I still call him Gregson because some people still call him Gregson on the broadcast, or Gregson. Like, he needs to come. Maybe he said Gregson, and people still call him Gregson. Either way, I call him Gregson because it's just engraved in my mind. Anyway, Cendrick and Gregson should be the drivers expected to do the best in this race. That doesn't necessarily mean win. That doesn't necessarily mean have lead the most amount of laps, but those guys should have the two best cars entering this race. So I imagine a lot of lineups are going to start with Gregson and Cendrick. Now, and I guess I should move this down, and I'll let you kind of read here. This is kind of my idea. So if you're paying up for those two guys, or even if you want to pay up for AJ Allmendinger, Reddick, which I don't think you should do, if you're paying up for Ty Dillon, even if you're paying up whatever two 10,000 plus guys you're going with, you're going to be around $7,000 for the last four guys. Now, it's interesting. This is where everything goes off the wall, and it even goes off the wall with two 10K guys that you're playing. But you're going to need at least one value play, and it really determines your lineup how low you go. So say if you play somebody like Howard or Starr, at $49,000, $5,000, you can get up to a lot of the 8K guys. You can get up to a lot of the great plays in the 7K. If you don't go that low and you play primarily within the 6K range, sure, you're still going to be able to get in the 8K range, but there's drivers in the mid 8s and in the mid 7s that I really want to focus on, and you have to go out of your way to get them. The way that I imagine most optimizers and even most hand builds are going to go is that you're going to use one 5K guy. And I don't know if this is a race where I really want to do that. You can make an argument for Jesse Little. You can make an argument for Howard. You can make an argument for Starr. I really like Parsons myself, but I don't know. Hopefully it'll make more sense when we get through. It's going to be really interesting. A lot of 5K guys are going to hit value, but they're going to be flat out outscored. And I don't think you necessarily need the 5K guys to hit value in your lineups. I would much rather just go with people, or if you're playing, 5K, obviously you need them to hit value and do well. But I want to do a more balanced type of approach, because looking at my projections, if I'm punting or if I'm going to the bottom of the 5K range, my lineups are scoring well. If I play very balanced and maybe not chase Austin Cendrick, or maybe not chase, as many $10,000 guys and focus on the 9K and 8K, my lineups are actually outscoring those that are focusing on two $10,000 guys. I don't know if that's just my projections. I don't know if optimizers are going to do that unless I force them to, or unless people force them to do that. But I think this is a race where a balanced lineup is going to see really odd to make right off the bat. But I think it adds a lot of upside, and you have to get it through your head that one, that we're going to see fast laps distributed by whoever gets new tires first. So whether that's in a run, whether that's somebody blows a tire in the middle of a run, yellow doesn't come out, he gets tires and goes back out, and now he's stealing fast laps. So the reason I'm talking about that is, yeah, Cendrick might lead right off the bat, but I don't expect him to win this race. I don't expect him to lead, probably after stage 1. And I don't think he can get enough raw points in stage 1 to make up for the fact that I don't think he's going to lead anything after that. Hopefully I'm making sense here. And so there's a real argument to be made that I don't want to waste money on Cendrick, and I really don't want to waste money on Allgaier, who is also in the 10K range, who is starting 19th, who is just horrible at this track. He's trash, and I haven't watched anything else related to this. Nobody's made anything at the time of recording this, but I mean, dude, Allgaier is horrible at this track. I assume people are going to want to play him because he's cheaper. He's not $10,000. He offers place differential, but I don't like Allgaier whatsoever. So I don't see paying up for Cendrick or Allgaier. Gragson I like. Reddick, I don't see Reddick really doing much in this car in a sense of worth fantasy. I think he gets a top 10. He has a chance to race in the top 5, but our motorsports cars, even with Brett Moffat, Brett Moffat and Reddick are very similar in terms of skill, and we've seen Brett Moffat, struggle in these cars. Sometimes he's the last car in the lead lap last year. Sometimes they have mechanical issues. I don't want to pay, 11.7 for Reddick, and I don't want to pay, 10.2 for Cendrick that much. I really don't want to pay 9.9 for Allgaier. Harrison Burton should be fast. There's an argument to be made that if Cendrick doesn't have a good day, or if he starts off if he comes off the trailer being really slow, Harrison Burton and Brandon Jones can get there and lead laps early. But then, like I said, I think Gregson's going to get up there. I think we're going to see other guys possibly lead laps. So, sure, I might have them A's, C's, and B's, but I'm really looking at not focusing on Cendrick, Burton, Jones, and Hemrick starting up there, and really focusing on people like Justin Haley, Riley Herbst, Michael Annett, Josh Berry, as guys who I think have very similar upside to these guys and who have a much safer floor. And I just like that type of line construction more. Like I said, I'm slightly outscoring, focusing on people like Josh Berry, focusing on people like Herbst, Haley, Gregson, and kind of chasing place differential, but not overpaying for that. I'm outscoring lineups that are focusing on playing people like Cendrick or playing on people that are projected lap leaders, because anything's going to happen. So they don't have practice. Laps led aren't solidified. Fast laps are going to be distributed, like I just said, to whoever's leading early in a run, but whoever hits pit road first, or if something happens, those fast laps can be taken away because the fall off at this track is close to 3 to 4 seconds deep into a run. So this is not a race that I can really feel confident in projecting who gets fast laps, and so, like I said, that hurts Cendrick. That hurts these guys a lot. So now that I've explained my idea entering this week, now that I've looked at it, let's talk about the drivers. Let's go down the actual grid. So Cendrick, I've already kind of talked about it. I think he's going to be chalky. I think, like I just said, a lot of lineups are going to start with the pole sitter, which is something that I think you really need to consider not doing, not just for the Cup Series, but for everything, because nothing is guaranteed, but we're seeing more and more pole sitters in the Xfinity Series, in the Cup Series, not be optimal, not perform, and it's quite telling. And I didn't mention this in the Cup Series video, but it's quite telling that DraftKings lowered the price of Denny Hamlin and Logano just for that reason. I mean, if you look back at previous years, the pole sitter would usually be one of the most expensive guys. And I'll get back to Xfinity soon. I just want to bring this up, but where are they at? Denny Hamlin is 9.6 for the Cup Series. Joey Logano is 9.3. They're starting on the front row. even DraftKings is admitting right there that these guys are not the, solidified dominators that we would normally see. Meanwhile, we still have Cendrick at 10-2. He's still one of the most expensive guys. Something's not adding up here, so I just wanted to bring that up to you, man. There's a lot of things talking about and pointing towards Cendrick not being that. Sure, he can lead a lot of laps, but we got a lot of guys starting the back here that can lead laps that are also going to get place differential, and that I think can outscore Cendrick. So now I swear I'm done talking about Cendrick here. Hemrick, I don't like it. Harrison Burton, if you think that he can lead a good portion of the race, if you think he can get fast laps, go for it. Actually, if I had to rank these drivers, the top 4, it would probably be Cendrick, Burton, Jones, and Hemrick. But, it's just kind of with line construction or whatever you guys think is going to happen. Jeb Burton, not interested. Moffat, I already said I don't like these cars. Certainly at his price, I see no interest, no reason to pay 7-7 for Moffat when I see him finishing at the very end of the top 10. I just don't like it. Brandon Brown, a shame that he's starting 7th because I really liked him going in this week, but 7th place is just not going to do it. Even if he can stay up in the top 15, he's going to be outscored by other guys, and those negative place differential points is really going to hurt you. Justin Haley, I think Haley is underpriced at $8,900, starting 8th. He's a guy who's going to stay right where he's at. I think he can get up to 6th. I think he can win this race if things go crazy at the end, which we're going to see. We're going to see late yellows. NASCAR has turned into, we have a 2-hour race, hour-and-a-half race, 3-hour race, and all that does is get you ready for the green-white checkered at the end of the race. And so that's why, I have Haley as a ceiling of, winning the race, because I would see that happen. I would not be shocked by that. Jeremy Clamps, no. Matt Snyder, not really. I think we're overpaying for Snyder. I think he's going to get unnecessary amount of attention. 8,300 I just don't like. Landon Castle is really interesting. Maybe I'm a bit high on Landon Castle here, $6,000. I know I just, talked bad about Brandon Brown, but Landon Castle starting 11th, depending on how you're making lineups, maybe if you want to, be different. It's still tough for Castle, man. Still tough for Castle. I think he's a top 15 guy. Maybe if other value plays at the bottom don't really work out, you got Tommy Joe Martins that needs to fail, Yaley needs to fail, Curry needs to fail, Hill needs to fail, Fincham needs to fail, Parsons needs to fail, David Starr needs to fail. You need all those guys to fail for Castle to do well. So why I think he does well, in a race sense. For fantasy, I don't really like that. Kyle Weatherman, no. Ty Dillon, if he shows up with a car that's even similar to what Ty Gibbs had, he can win this race. He can lead laps. I would honestly much rather play Ty Dillon over Austin Cendrick and over all these guys. So maybe it's really a hybrid of playing place differential, playing guys from the back while also playing guys who can still lead. That's why I'm saying you got to throw out the ways that you're used to approaching NASCAR DFS, because it is a totally different game. Jesse Little, no. Josh Williams, no. Joe Graff Jr., misprice, horrible misprice. This is embarrassing, $4,600. So this is what I mean, that I think we're going to have a lot of optimizers and a lot of people throw Graff Jr. into a lineup and end up paying up for, 2 to 3 10K guys. And I'm seeing that that's going to be slight. Obviously, it depends, but I just don't think that's going to be the highest amount of DK points you can get. I think it's going to be outscored by a balanced play. But Joe Graff Jr. is going to be very chalky. Joe Graff Jr. has a good chance of just staying where he is and finishing well. However, we've seen Joe Graff Jr., wreck a lot. If you want to talk about a guy who's going to race stupid, it's going to be Joe Graff Jr. If you look at his recent history here, 13th and 16th, that's going to probably draw more ownership to him. Him being 4,600, that's a tough situation. So it's rough. I'm going to have lineups with Joe Graff Jr. I'm going to have lineups avoiding him. If he ends up being the highest owned guy because everybody's wanting to pay up for people, I'll probably still be underweight regardless of what his ownership is. I think a lot of lineups and certainly a lot of optimizers are going to put him in just forcing him in because they're going to try and pay up for a lot of 10K guys, which is why I went on my spiel of why I don't think you need to do that this race. Matt Mills, don't like him. He's going to go in the back. Very similar in price, but I don't see it, man. If I'm struggling to play Joe Graff Jr. and really believing in the Bobby Daughter car, Matt Mills and the BJ McLeod machine is certainly going to be a no. Michael Annett, I love Michael Annett for $8,500. I like him a ton. Top 5 upside. And I obviously I hate whenever somebody's like, oh, top 5 upside. Oh, no, he can't do this. But look, Michael Annett did extremely well last year. He just kept starting up in the front towards the end of the season, and you really couldn't play him. He didn't offer that much upside. This is a perfect situation to play Michael Annett. Whereas, like I said, if you're paying up for a lot of 10K guys, you're not going to be able to fit in Michael Annett. He's going to be lost in that transition of how you're making lineups. So I like Michael Annett as a play. I like him even more in terms of lineup construction, probably not go in his direction. I've already told you I don't like Justin Allgaier. I think he's going to be very chalky. He has a good chance of busting, getting in the wall, wrecking, not performing. I don't like that at all. Josh Berry, I do love, however. Same car. If I like... And I'm just not playing Allgaier because I don't like him at this track. But if I like Michael Annett, you're damn right I'm going to like Josh Berry. 7,800, a lot of talent. I know I give him a lot of crap because I think he's a dirty racer. Whatever the case may be there, he has a lot of talent. He'll do just fine. $7,800 is underpriced. I don't mind him at all. Yet again, if I build around people like Josh Berry, Michael Annett, and we haven't even got to guys down here that I'm liking either, I don't see the need of playing these guys up here. I don't see the need of just stacking 10K guys in there. I know it looks appealing. I know you can easily do it. But I'm telling you, what I'm seeing with early projections is that, and maybe it's me, expecting too much from these guys. But I'm just seeing that I can outscore lineups by playing people like Josh Berry, playing people like Michael Annett, playing people like Ryan Sieg, playing people like Riley Herbst, and not focusing on a 10K range. I swear I'll leave that argument alone now. Santino, I like Sam Hunt. I like the car. I don't think he's going to be highly owned. Baseline, even if this guy's horrible, he can't. This is the 18th place car. If he has any talent in this car, and I wish we had practice so we can see, I think he's going to struggle. But if the ownership isn't on him, if people aren't looking at him, 7,300 is awesome for the Sam Hunt car. As I've kind of argued that this is turned into a JGR car and turned into a much better car than people think. Ryan Sieg, like him a lot, $8,000 underpriced. He's going to be very aggressive. He has a chance of blowing a tire, but he's going to be right outside the top 10. And same thing here. If you want to argue that, I forgot who I was talking about over here in the top 10s. Even like Brett Moffat. Like Brett Moffat's going to be at the tail end of the top 10, probably really running for 14th. Ryan Sieg is probably going to be at the same place. Like I would not be surprised if Ryan Sieg and Brett Moffat are racing each other. It's going to be Ryan Sieg between that heads up. Noah Gragson, as I said, probably my favorite play there. I don't need to really talk about him. AJ Allmendinger. $11,000, yeah, that's a bit steep. However, entering this year, I've said that Gragson, Allmendinger, Burton, and Cendrick are the best cars in the field. Regardless of the race, regardless of the track, AJ is racing for a championship. He lost a lot of points last week, obviously because he wrecked, at the beginning of stage 1 in the road course series. If these guys are racing for a championship, which I know they are, they're going to want those stage points. They're going to want those stage wins. That is pushing me towards it liking Allmendinger at almost every track. Allmendinger should finish 4th at every single track this year. If he's fighting for wins, if other guys have mistakes, I like him. And I think Allmendinger let's see, I have Allmendinger right now projected for 1 less point than Austin Cendrick, and that's me giving Cendrick a lot of laps led in fast laps. So there's a good chance that AJ Allmendinger outscores Austin Cendrick here. Just another example of why not to really chase Cendrick or the other guys there. Alex Lebane, fine. Just depends on. 7,000. I'm gonna go other places. He's not a horrible play, but I'm certainly gonna go other places. Greg Olding, too expensive. I like Greg Holding in the Jimmy Means car, but 6,200 for me, not knowing what this car can really do with him in this, I don't like it at all. Tommy Joe Martin's underpriced, mispriced, $5,900, big miss right here. This is good. I mean, Tommy Joe has shown once he got through those mechanical issues last year, he's shown that this is a 17th, 16th, 18th place car. Give me those 10 place differential for $5,900. Don't mind that at all. Colby Howard, another guy. It's going to be Joe Graff Jr., Colby Howard, mainly securing the punt play this week, or the guy under 4K in a lot of those lineups. I would much rather go Colby Howard over Joe Graff, but Joe Graff does offer that $300 discount. So if you're paying up for a lot of people, you're going to be going to Joe Graff. You're going to be going to Colby Howard. I mean, that's rough, man. That is rough. I'm probably going to trust Colby Howard a bit more than Joe Graff Jr. head-to-head, but I don't want to be... I mean, look, I don't really want to mess around with Colby Howard chalk. I don't really want to mess around with Joe Graff Jr. chalk. If they bite me, they do. We've seen that Colby Howard finished 17th last year in both of these races, but... Man, this ain't the same series. This ain't the same This ain't the same class of drivers. I'll probably still end up having a lot of Colby Howard ownership, but I don't like that at all. If I can get away from Colby Howard, if I can get away from that type of build, I'm going to be very happy. Riley Herbst. Love Riley Herbst here. Too cheap. Absolutely too cheap. $8,700. I mean, yet again, just another misprice. I don't understand it. It's just, I mean, he should be $9,500. I'm going to own a lot of Riley Herbst. Stephen Parsons, like him a lot too. $5,100. I would much rather go them. I would much rather have Stephen Parsons over Colby Howard, over Joe Graff Jr. if I can. If I'm building, if I'm in that situation, I love Stephen Parsons. I like the kid. He has a lot of talent, and he's getting a lot out of that BJ McLeod car, especially with the full sponsorship that he has this year. In that car, I absolutely love it. Jade Buford, I don't know enough about this car. I don't know where these cars are from. I had a mechanical issue last week, which is what we expected to happen at some point, and it happened right off the bat. I think that's going to be an example of what this car has. Dexter Bean, I don't feel like I need to keep going there. Now, this is early in the week, so NBM really hasn't, I mean, it's not even early in the week, it's Thursday, but NBM really hasn't talked about the cars. They haven't really showed a lot of sponsorships, so that's why I'm kind of hesitant. But Timmy Hill at $5,500, if he's sponsored, that's a huge discount, because if he's sponsored, this is a type of racetrack that I think Timmy Hill can work his way into the top 20. If he doesn't, he's going to be racing, 28th, 29th. If he has a sponsorship, I think skill alone can bring him inside the top 20. Bailey Curry, $5,600, has sponsorship from Mike Harmon. I mean, Homestead is telling for a lot of people, not just for like Suarez in the Cup Series or other drivers in the Xfinity Series. I mean, this is the first 1.5 mile. This is the first actual race, because it's no longer these jokes of the super speedways or road courses. I want to see how Bailey Curry performs. If he performs well here, I'm going to like him at a lot of other tracks this year. Because of that, you got to try and be early, so I'm probably going to have some Bailey Curry ownership. Ryan Vargas, I think he's the meme dream himself. He's a meme. Maybe I'm harsh on Ryan. I don't know. I don't like his antics. I mean, he tries to be funny. I mean, I try and be funny too, and I think I'm hilarious. But, I mean, he's a meme, and people are going to want to play him because Alvin Kamara is talking about him. Alvin Kamara is sponsoring him. So, is he popular? Maybe. Give me away from that. Jeffrey Earnhardt performed very well at this race last year, 16th and 19th in the two races, but a lot of things happened that pushed him there. $7,500 is just too expensive. I mean, good Lord, give me Stephen Parsons for that. I'm not paying $7,500 to Jeffrey Earnhardt. If that's the case, I'll find the extra $1,000 and play Riley Herbst, I don't like the Jeffrey Earnhardt play at the price there. Chad Fincham in the Hattori car. Yet again, I got to try and see what car this is, I got to see what they're bringing to this track. If this is the Hattori car, $5,300 is too cheap. If it's a start and park car, it's right where it should be. I think he can easily, if it is the Hattori car, he'll be right up with Timmy Hill. I don't mind that at all. We just got to see what the pricing is there. Tyler Reddick in the R Motorsports car number 2, or the 03, whatever the second car, number 3, 03. Like I said, I don't trust these cars a whole lot. Reddick's going to get a lot out of it. He's going to be around the outside. He's going to be up against the wall. It's the composite body, so even if he gets in the wall, it's not going to kill his day, but I just don't believe in this equipment. And at that price, $11,700, that's a big no-no. J.J. Yaley, $5,700, another misprice here. I love J.J. Yaley here. This is a top 15 car, straight up. I don't care who's in the car. This is a top 15 car. J.J. Yaley bumps that up for me into, pretty much guaranteeing a 16th place finish. That's what I expect from this car. I'm going to be disappointed, not just DFS-wise, but in general, if J.J. Yaley doesn't finish in the top 20, and I think he gets a 16th place finish. So I'm going to be very heavy on J.J. Yaley. So there's more arguments to be made of why I don't really want to focus on Joe Graff Jr., why I don't really focus on Colby Howard. I'd much rather just pay a little bit more and get J.J. Yaley, get the higher floor, get the guaranteed place differential, and I'm fine there. Because of that, David Starr, even starting dead last, he started in park last week. He did. Everything that I've looked at points to him starting and parking in that Whataburger car. So, if he runs, like I said, this is going to show us how he does. I gotta see them talk about it more, because if he's looking like he's not gonna start in park, if he's looking like he's gonna run the full race, he should finish around 22nd. I'm very hesitant to play David Starr right now. I need to see more from him. So, there's so many layers in lineup construction. There's so much things that we don't know right now on a Thursday that we probably won't know until Saturday morning, that really goes in and really affects how you're going to approach lineup construction. So this went on way longer than I thought it would. We're at 26 minutes, so I apologize for that. A lot of people don't like it when I go that long anymore, but very, very interesting. This is very interesting for lineup construction. I think if you're playing a lot of lineups, you're going to have an advantage here. I don't think playing 3 to 5 lineups is really going to work, because I think you're going to miss opportunities straight up. I think the optimal lineup here is going to be something we don't expect, or guys that there's going to be one lone guy that shouldn't be that low owned. That's just what I'm seeing, and I don't know who that is right now. I don't know where the public is at. That's just how I'm approaching this, and that's how I'm looking at it. So thank you guys for watching the live stream up for this Saturday at some point. We're still deciding that. And thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you for watching me. Join my Patreon if you want to save time. If you don't want to have to go through all this and just see my projections and guys that I like straight up, go there and support me there. And thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you next time. So thank you for watching. I do appreciate it.